Welcome to 3 and Out with Jason and Kevin. I'm Jason. That's Kevin. We are brought to you by CincyJungle.com, SB Nation's Cincinnati Bengals website, and we are sponsored by Eastgate Smiles Dental Care. We're in the Orange and Black Insider on YouTube and anywhere you can get podcasts. So Spotify, Apple, wherever you get podcasts, we're there. It's not just us. It's OBI. It's Chalk Talk. It's Talking Football with Bengal Jim and Friends. There's like 4 or 5 more, and I keep forgetting. I feel like every week I list off 4 different ones and leave one out. And then, so it's whatever. But yeah, new stuff, new Bengal stuff there every single day. Great content. Check it out. Kevin, what's going on, buddy? Last show before Christmas. You ready?
Yes. For Christmas? Yeah, yes. We got ready way early. We pretty much had everything bought end of November, which is never a thing that happens. And I am misspeaking a little bit because, of course, we did that thing that I feel like so many people do, where you get everything wrapped, you look under the tree, and you go,
"Yeah,
I just don't know. I don't know if there's enough presents there. It just doesn't." And then we accidentally spent $300 extra dollars at Meijer the other day. But other than that, we were ready by the end of November.
That's nuts because I've never been ready by the end of November. It must be nice to have shit together. But I think the biggest thing with Christmas for us, so we have 2 kids, and I mean we had 1 kid for like 3 years, but I've never had an older kid. I mean Harper's 9. Sorry, 9. Harper's 9, and I've never had a 9-year-old by herself. So I think the trap that we fall in every time is we say we're going to get X amount of presents for both kids, and then a month later, we're like, oh man, Evie would really like that. It's not expensive, so let's get it. But now we got to get something for the boy.
Yep. That was my mom.
Yeah, and then like a week later, it's like, oh man, he'd really like that now. And so all of a sudden, it gets way out of hand really fast, especially when my wife and I aren't the same page. Where she's out and she says, "Oh, I really like this thing I got for," and then she gets something, and at the same time, I get, you know what I mean? Too much.
Yeah.
Way too much.
No, that was my mom. She's complaining about it all the time. I can't remember how old I was, but I wanted like a PS2 for Christmas or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So I ended up getting that, and then because she just had to have the presents equal.
Sure.
I ended up at one point she wrapped a box of Captain Crunch.
Oh yeah,
because it was my favorite cereal, and I was old enough to I wasn't getting screwed. I knew I got what I wanted, but it was just I was like, well, I blew all the money on your PS2, but I want you to be able to open stuff. So here's a box of Captain Crunch for you.
There you go. I love Captain Crunch.
He was obsessive about that. Oh, it's my favorite cereal.
Oh yeah, and everyone complains that it hurts their. I've never had an issue where it hurts my mouth.
I mean, if you eat 2 bowls, for me, that second bowl will start to tear up my gums a little bit.
I get it, but yeah, Captain Crunch, no Crunch Berries though. Crunch Berries suck.
I'm good with or without Crunch Berries. I will not go all Crunch Berries though.
No, I just want regular Captain Crunch. Best cereal in the world. Absolutely 100%. All right, so let's talk about the Bengals for a few minutes.
Captain Crunch, much like the Bengals, the best cereal and football team in the world. There we go.
Exactly. There we go. There's the transition. That's perfect.
Yeah, I'm really good at this.
Yeah. So the Cincinnati Bengals won their 3rd in a row overtime thriller against the Minnesota Vikings, and in a game that looked like they were going to drop. They played very poorly. Well, not poorly. It's a different team. Yeah, well, yeah.
I would say they played offensively. They played pretty poorly.
Yeah, I would agree with
that. First 3 quarters, we were giving that game away, man.
Right. Yeah, and it looked like they were going to drop this game. And then it was just the Browning T. Higgins show. The Browning and Tyler Boyd show. It just clicked. The whole offense just kind of clicked. They came back, tied the game, went to overtime. A few just miraculous things happened. Without DJ Reader goes out for the year with a horrific, awful injury, which I think we should talk about that in a couple of minutes. Just the fallout from that.
Let's go over the game, and then we'll talk about the fallout of the injuries, and then move on after the break for the Steelers.
For Steelers week, yeah. So DJ Reader goes out. The Vikings are in a situation where it's 3rd and 1 in overtime, and they just need a field goal. That's all they need. They're outside of field goal range, but it's one of those things where they're kind of too close to punt. They go for it in 3rd and 1 without DJ Reader. One of those tush push plays. The Bengals stop it. 4th and 1 without DJ Reader. They stop it.
That's last year's. We saw that over and over again last year's.
Right.
Usually goal line stops like that. We have not seen it this year, and it was very, very nice to get that back, even if it was just for the one game. We'll see.
Yeah. So they get the ball back. They drive down the field with some just nuts plays. I mean, there was a rollout pass to Tyler Boyd that Jake Browning threw between two defenders, and by all rights, it probably should have been at least knocked down. And the fact that Boyd caught it and got within field goal range is amazing. And then that was in overtime, but before overtime, the T. Higgins' second touchdown, is probably the most miraculous play I've ever seen a wide receiver make, in my opinion.
I agree. The more I watch football, the more, I mean, everybody likes the circus catches, and I mean, that's just good fun, man. But the more I become impressed with that level of almost like insane processing speed, the ability to be that aware of everything that's happening around you, where your body is, where the goal is, where the ball is, and those are the plays that wow me these days that I just can't understand how somebody can make that many decisions and be that conscious of what he's doing in half a second. It was amazing. Leading up to that too, I was joking about it. That should have been picked off. That was a bad throw by Browning.
Sure.
I don't know how a wide receiver can intercept the ball that was being thrown to them, but that is what T. Higgins did. That's a T. Higgins interception as far as I'm concerned, the way he stepped into that defensive player and then turned it into a touchdown. Hell of a game.
Oh, yeah. Well, like what you said, it was amazing to me all the things he did in the span of a second. Not even a second. Is the ball's in the air, it's going to be short. He's got a guy in front of him, a guy behind him. He steps out of the end zone, high points the ball 6 inches to a foot above them. And then with two guys draped on him, gets his feet in bounds, spins, and whips the ball over the pylon before his butt lands out of bounds. That's going to be one of those plays. Oh, yeah. So, you see these NFL commercials where you see these plays that happened 30 years ago, like the immaculate reception or the just the stuff that you see all the time. The NFL is like, oh, here's the greatest plays forever. That's going to be on commercials. That T. Higgins touchdowns is going to be on commercials for years, because it was just so good. So, and I don't think, Jamar Chase has a tool set that T. Higgins, he has elite top end speed. You know what I mean? He can stop and start in a dime. He's a great route runner. He's a great everything receiver.
Sure.
But I don't think Jamar Chase can make that play.
No, he can't. And that's why T. Higgins is also an elite wide receiver. And why the duo of them is so deadly. Jamar Chase can do a lot of things, but a guy like T. Higgins, it really is nice. And you see it less and less in the league these days. A player who can just go up and get the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that sounds simple, but we're seeing a lot more Jamar Chase style wide receivers, just a little shorter sometimes, faster, strong. T. Higgins feels like a bit of a throwback, just a big body who can go up and get the ball.
Yeah. T. Higgins, like when I'm thinking about, I mean, you can't, I'm not going to sit here and say T. Higgins is just like Megatron, because that would be stupid. But I'm saying that he's got that size, not the speed. Megatron had a freak size and speed ratio. I'm saying he's got that size and strength. You know what I mean? And he's great at just going. He's aggressive at going up and get the ball and high pointing it. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. So there are a couple of injuries. We talked about DJ Reader. I think is the big one.
Yeah.
He tore his quad off the bone, from what I understand.
That was my understanding as well.
Yeah, and
but I might have heard that from you. So don't.
Yeah, I think it was from me, but I think I read based on what they were saying in the injuries. It was like that's kind of broke down what it is. And it's a pretty grueling thing to come back from. He is a free agent heading this year. He's 29 or 30, one of the two.
And he will not be recovered by the start of the next season.
He will not. So this is devastating, because I would have said, first of all, and I still believe that DJ Reader is maybe the second or third most important player on this team. After Joe Burrow is one, obviously.
Yeah.
And DJ Reader might be 2 or 3.
He's the most important player on defense.
I totally agree with that. Yes, the most important defensive player on the team. He's gone for the year. I would have said he was the most important guy to bring back for next year, but he's not going to be ready.
No.
And I think what's going to happen to him is probably the same thing that happened to Geno Atkins. Great player, got hurt at the very end of a contract year when he's got some years under his belt, and by the time he's ready, it's probably going to be too late. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that he's available and ready to play, and maybe even as a Bengal. I just don't see it. I wouldn't be surprised if he played, he's ready to go halfway through the year next year. I would not be surprised if he doesn't play anymore, if he's done. What do you think?
I think he is not a Bengal after this year. I think
Right.
because of everything you said. I think the only chance of him becoming a Bengal, which I think the Bengals should do, is to sign him to a 1-year contract and immediately put him on injured reserve. If he can get healthy by middle of the season or even late season, he would be an excellent body, even if he's not 100% for a late season push or into the playoffs push. It would be good for him. We could get him for very, very cheap.
Yep.
It'd be good for him because he'd get a chance to show his talents back on the field, to show the NFL, hey, I'm recovered. If he's looking to get another maybe 2-year contract afterward, it'd be good for us because we could use the depth at the end.
Right.
I think it'd be a good play. I don't think they'll do it because it just doesn't feel very Bengals. But I think they should do it.
I think they should too, and it doesn't feel very Bengals to me. I think that what's going to happen is teams don't want to spend any money on a guy they don't know is going to be ready. So you know what I mean? I think that every team is going to say, well, we don't know. And even though it would be a smart investment, we're not going to, commit.
The flip side of that is what's been going on with them the last year or two might be giving them whiplash, where they have had depth problems going in, especially going into the late season at the defensive line year after year after year. Maybe they actually learn a lesson and they go, hey, if we could add a player like DJ, don't look at it as like wasting $2 million on the front end. Look at it as like, we are adding a player of DJ Reader's caliber week 10 to finalize our playoff push, and it's only going to cost us $3 million.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's,
you know what I mean? That's the way, that's the math I'd be doing in my head.
Sure. That's absolutely, I totally agree with you. And worst case scenario is he's not ready and it's $3 million. And that's, I mean, to me, if I lose $3 million in my job, I'm going to get fired. I'm just saying. But, in the grand scheme of things in the NFL, it's not that big of a deal. And the next is Ja'Marr Chase, separated his shoulder. I know that there were some reports that he was ruled out. I think Zach Taylor seemed a little bit annoyed at yesterday's press conference that had
even the reports that he separated his shoulder are now being walked back.
Right, I know.
And it's just a strain or something like that.
Right. And then I get, Zach Taylor said, no, he's day to day. He's not out. He's day to day. So he's
not day to day. He just wants the Steelers planning for Ja'Marr Chase. Basically, he's annoyed that we're all shutting it down. That doesn't mean he might not play the following week. Without a better indicator of what his injury was. I don't think anybody can speak to it. He is not playing versus the Steelers. We do not need him. The Steelers are trash.
Yes.
It just is what it is. Even if he was like good enough to go, they'd probably still send him just to get him 100% healthy. That's why Zach Taylor's mad, is because he's like, quit blowing up my spot.
Right.
I'm going to try to pretend Ja'Marr Chase is playing. We all know he's not. Just shut up about it.
Yeah. The Steelers know he's not too. It's not.
I know, but you gotta. It's gamesmanship, man. You gotta try.
I know. But yeah. So he went down. Did something to his shoulder. They were saying he's going to be out. Now they're saying day to day, but he's going to be out. He didn't practice yesterday or today, unless he goes full tomorrow, which isn't going to happen. He's not going to play, especially since the game's on Saturday. I do think he'll be back. I would assume he'll be back. Hopefully, he will be for the Chiefs. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But T. Higgins has a history of really stepping up, playing great when Ja'Marr Chase is not in. The offense has a history of being really good when Ja'Marr Chase is not in. Not to say that we don't need him, because obviously we do.
But they tend to try to step up in the short term. You can see it.
Yeah, I'm not overly concerned about Chase. He'll be missed, and T's going to get some double teams. But like you said, and we'll get into it in more in depth, the Steelers are in big time trouble. Big trouble. It's funny.
I want to clarify. I am not worried about Ja'Marr Chase missing the Steelers game.
Right.
The final 2 games might be unwinnable with him.
Oh, sure. I totally agree.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. But yeah.
Yes. No, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal this week. Yeah. The next 2 weeks, Ja'Marr Chase hopefully is ready to go. Even if against the Chiefs, he's a lot of decoy stuff. You know what I mean? Because you just can't
the gravity on the field is opening up Jake Browning's throwing lanes like crazy, dude.
Right. Even if they somewhat know he's not completely healthy, they can't just leave him alone. So
everybody's just scared of him, man.
Oh yeah, and they should be. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're going to get to the Steelers here in a second. Do you have really anything else other than that about the Vikings? I mean, 3 wins in a row.
I do want your take on, because we both said that this would be the game that would let us know just where Jake Browning actually stood.
Yeah.
I don't know where Jake Browning stands. He was bad for 3 quarters, and then he was really, really good for a quarter. I guess I can say that at the very least he doesn't rattle.
Right.
But the level of inconsistency with his play is making me eat my words. I don't really have more to say about Jake Browning, because I thought I would. I don't. What about you?
So I think that what we're seeing with Jake Browning is he's showing us that he is a really good backup quarterback for Joe Burrow.
Sure.
I don't think if you took away the best wide receiver group in the NFL, and then all of a sudden the offensive line plays poorly like they were earlier in the year, because they've had 3 great games in a row. You know what I mean?
They've been
If
using a lot
they
more
struggle,
max.
I don't think Joe Burrow is the kind of guy who the whole team can be coming down and crashing down around him. And he's like, nope, get on my back. We got it. You know, we've seen him do that before. Jake Browning's not that guy. I think he needs the other guys to lift him up, which is fine. That's the majority of quarterbacks. You know, that we had Andy Dalton like that for 11 years, however many years it was, 50 years it seems like.
Yeah, I think it was about 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years, I think. But yeah, we had Andy Dalton, and he needed AJ Green. He needed Mohamed Sanu and all those guys to lift him up. And that's who Jake Browning is. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, the quarterbacks who can put everyone on their backs, how many are there in the NFL? 5?
I'd say between
3? Burrow, Mahomes, Allen?
No, there's more than that. I'd say at least 5, maybe 7.
Okay, but 7 out of 32 is nothing. That's just
it's not.
Even if it's 7. And I think 7 would be on the high side. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So that's what I see Jake Browning. Jake Browning is a good backup, knows the system. I think that whether he is going to have success or not depends on the scheme. The fact that the Bengals decided not to run the ball again a lot last weekend did not help Jake Browning through the first 3 quarters of the game. I think he needs that. I think he's the kind of quarterback who needs that. He's, you know, we talked about, how the Bengals need to, you know, the whole thing about running to set up the pass. You don't need to do that with Joe Burrow. If anything, it does it in reverse. We're going to get back in too deep because we're afraid of Burrow, and now you can just run the ball. The Bengals, I think, need to run the ball to set Jake Browning up for success. I just think that's the kind of quarterback he is, the kind of team, the kind of offense he's going to have to lead, which is fine. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. There are teams that won. Eli Manning.
Anything wrong with that?
Yeah, not that there's anything wrong with that. Eli Manning, that mouth-breathing dummy. No. Eli Manning beat Tom Brady and one of the best Super Bowl teams, one of the best teams ever to be assembled in the playoffs, because they ran the ball. It just set him up for success. So yeah, I don't think, you know, I think that a lot of people like overreacted or thought like, oh, you know, Jake Browning, we're going to trade him for whatever. I don't think so. For a first. That's
we'll win the Super Bowl, and then we'll trade him for a first. Yeah, he's going to win.
If we win the Super Bowl, maybe, but I just don't think that's going to happen. Even if we,
I've been on the Jake Browning train since his first victory, and so far I'm not wrong. So
no, yeah, I'm excited for him. I'm just saying, I just don't think that we're going to be able to turn Jake Browning into like a first or second round pick. It's just not realistic to me. So, all right, take a break. We'll come back. We'll talk some dumpster fire. Right?
Sounds good.
All right, we'll be right back. Eastgate Smiles Dental Care is a warm and welcoming environment where expertise and customer service come together. As a local business, they love helping their fellow Cincinnatians manage their oral health and achieve a perfect smile. They pair the latest technology with years of experience to give you a smile worth showing off. They are dedicated to quality and convenience and can even perform dental crown procedures the same day in most cases. You like your smile, but they are here to help you love it. They personalize your care and match your needs. Call them today at 513-528-1150 to learn what they can do for your pearly whites. All right. On Saturday, which is the 23rd, Cincinnati Bengals travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers in Heinz Field. I don't even know what their field is now. It's not Heinz anymore. It's whatever. Either way, yeah, they go up there, play at Condiment Field against the 7-7 Steelers. I think they're 7-7. And
wild, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. The Bengals are on a 3-game winning streak. So this is funny because the Steelers and the Bengals have swapped spaces. Steelers came out in the season, played pretty well, good defense. Kenny Pickett wasn't anything special, and we saw that, but they're winning some games somehow by being outgained by everybody, right?
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett gets hurt. Not that that's the reason they started to lose.
No.
And then this is the Bengals down here. And now here, right? Bengals going 3-game win streak. The offense looks just as good as it has under the best days with Joe Burrow, at least against the Colts and against whoever they played before the Colts. And then, they look good. And in the meantime, the Steelers have lost 3 in a row. And they're in shambles. Absolute shambles. You got wide receivers that are saying publicly, I'm not going to block because I don't want to get hurt.
Pickens.
So you saw Deontay Johnson.
Guy, Pickens.
Oh, I know.
You're so tough, Pickens.
Saw Deontay Johnson just give up on plays.
Yep.
The offensive line is bad. Yep. They benched Mitch Trubisky, and they've already announced that they're going to start Mason Rudolph against the Bengals.
Sure.
Whatever. That's fine.
Christmas spirit. I love it. Rudolph on Christmas.
Right. The biggest, I think, the biggest thing that I think that we have when it comes to the threats that I perceive from the Bengals, I think, is Pat Freiermuth. Pat Freiermuth absolutely ate the Bengals for breakfast. 9 catches, 120 yards in week 12. That's my thing. I think that's who we got to watch out for the most. But defensively, Minkah Fitzpatrick is hurt. Their other starting safety got suspended for the rest of the year for unbelievable. Did you see the hit against Michael against the Colts wide receiver? I just totally blanked on his name. Wow. So he's out. So they got 2 backup safeties in, and they're in trouble. They're absolutely in trouble.
Yes, they are.
I think the Steelers are the worst team in the division by a lot right now.
Far.
Yeah. And I personally can see this being the first year that Mike Tomlin has a losing season, and it would not surprise me if he was fired after this year. Because there's
which is wild.
I know. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL, personally. I really do. There's a guy that I work with that's a Steelers fan, and he's one of the most level-headed Steelers fans that I know, that he wants Mike Tomlin gone, which is it's just surprising.
I also work with a Steelers fan. He also wants Mike Tomlin gone.
Yeah. Okay. I'm saying do it. Do it.
Sure.
Do it and hire Matt Canada for your head coach. Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think he deserves another chance.
I think so too. What do you think? So just overall opinion, I think the Bengals are much better. A much better team in all aspects of the game right now.
This is a hard one to have a strong opinion about because the Steelers are on they're a dumpster fire. Not just on the field, but off the field. You can sense it. The team is absolutely falling apart, and I do not think this is the game they're going to suddenly get it back together. Offensively, they're bad. Defensively, they're bad. You can chalk it up to injuries. You can chalk it up to losing the quarterback. You can chalk it up to whatever you want. On the field, it doesn't really matter. We're better than them on defense. We're better than them on offense, and our offense is better than their defense, like et cetera, et cetera. Yep. This is going to be the only way that we lose this game is because it's division and we know each other inside and out. But honest to God, I feel like we have an advantage there too. Yeah. The Steelers don't know this offense. They don't know Jake Browning. I don't see how they might think they do, but we don't even know Jake Browning.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't even know what this offense is going to be next week or the week after or the week after. They are still making changes. You cannot predict what we're going to look like game to game. And so if we can't, the Steelers absolutely can. I just don't see how we lose this game. But to take a step back, because I said that, it feels dangerous because this is we must win this game if we want to be in the playoffs. Because the Browns are going to be tough. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs. I get it. Everybody's down on them. I am too. But they're still the Chiefs. And we're playing a backup quarterback. We have to win this one because we need 2 wins between now and the end of the season if we have a good chance of being in the playoffs.
Yep.
So it feels like a bit like a trap, but I can't see what the trap is. I can't see it. I don't see how the Steelers pull this one off. I
think that it's a trap game if they go up there just unprepared, whatever. You know what I mean? And they're professional athletes. I just don't think that's going to happen. I totally agree with you. They're better on offense, better on defense, better on special teams, probably. I don't know. I just and you're also right. They don't know Jake Browning. They think they do. They came out and they sacked him 4 times. They won in week 14, 16-10. So it wasn't like a blowout or anything like that. With the same offense that Joe Burrow had been running for however many weeks this year and last year. So now the offense is different. Now, now the offensive line is blocking better. Jake Browning's got his feet wet. They're ready to go. So yeah, they don't know the offense. The secondary is in shambles. And I know that we're missing Jamar Chase. I just don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. You got Tyler Boyd and just put Josevish. Put Charlie Jones out there. Everybody. You know what I mean? And let him
do a wide receiver rotation. He is a excellent wide receiver one.
Yep.
It's fine. It's fine. Yep. We don't really like, it feels goofy to break this down because it's obvious. You know what I mean? Like if you're, I'm not being like dismissive. I guess I am, but I'm not trying to be. It's just that like there's some teams you go up against and you really need to like break down. Like, well, this is the strategy and this is what they do, and this. I just don't.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if it's worth doing with the Steelers. I know this is stupid because this is a football podcast, but like we're just better than them in every phase of the sport right now.
So this is something that we're not used to seeing from the Steelers, is they've been like the picture of just consistency for 20 years. Sure. You know what I mean? Is you just think like, oh, at worst they'll be 500. At best they're a 3-4 loss game or team. Sure. And it's not just like the on-field stuff, because they're bad on the field, but the off-the-field stuff is the stuff I think that surprised me the most about the Steelers, because it's just not something you're used to seeing from them.
No, they're really falling apart, man.
They're in the news for the wrong reasons, week in and week out. You can tell the locker room's already been lost. You know what I mean? The whole thing's a mess. I don't think they have a prayer as long as the Bengals just come out and don't just completely shit the bed. And I don't think that they will. You know what I mean?
No.
But I do agree with you. We need two wins. So I don't see making the playoffs less than 10-7.
No.
You agree there? And
yeah, the whole middle of the AFC is just a cluster, dude. Like I sat here. This was after the last game. I sat for maybe 20 minutes just trying to figure out all the possibilities.
I know.
And very, very quickly, I realized you need some kind of a degree to figure out all the different tiebreakers and all the different, like it became a nightmare. And so I just trust at this point, I'm just trusting what smarter people than me say, which is basically 2 wins. 2 wins, and we are still not guaranteed, but likely.
But they need some help. Yeah. And two of those wins, I don't want to see them go 0-6 in the division. 2 of those wins are two of the 3 games left are against division rivals with backup quarterbacks. I think the one game we're looking at where we say we can drop that one is Kansas City. And that's, I think, normal for us to think that way, right? It's Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, whatever. Maybe we go out there and light them up and we, finish 11-6, which would be awesome. But my thinking is beat the Steelers. Hopefully we beat the Chiefs, but if we don't, it's not a big deal because the playoff game is the next week. You win, you're in. Hopefully. Right?
I get what you're trying to say. I'm not going to say losing to the Chiefs is not a big deal because
I
don't think we match up. We'll get to it later. I don't think we match up very well against this Browns team at all, especially with a worse quarterback situation and Jamar Chase maybe not playing. We need to beat the Chiefs. I'm not going to just be like it's a toss up game. We need to beat the Chiefs. Period.
Right. Well, before we get to that, they got to beat the Steelers, and I think I'm not overly concerned with it. I just want them to go out there and take care of business, play boring football. I don't care. The Steelers are a team in crisis, and just take advantage of it. Whatever they're guys that are not going to be playing as hard as they should. Whatever. I don't know what the situation is. All we know is it's a mess, and I think the Bengals are going to be okay. So
that's my breakdown. Yeah.
Do you want to go over a couple bets?
Yeah. What do you got?
Okay. So the Bengals are favored, first of all, by 2 on the road. So
by 2? Yeah. Over. Take the over. Take the over.
Okay. Yeah. So you're gonna take the Bengals and the points. All right. All right. So let's see here. All right. So the Bengals, actually, they're favored by 1.5. All right. So the over under for this game is 37 points. combined. Both teams score 37 points combined. Would you take the over or the under?
Under.
Okay. I think I would tend to
the
agree
Steelers
with that.
are not going to score very high. I do think the Bengals get off to an easy lead. And we both know Zach Taylor's tendency to put his foot on the brake. I don't agree with it, but it happens. Yeah. Put his foot on the brake when we're ahead.
Okay. Jake Browning, over under 232.5 passing yards.
Under. We're going to lean on the running game pretty early.
Okay. All right. Jake Browning, 1.5 touchdowns. So do you think he'll throw 2 or 1?
I think he'll throw 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last one we're going to do, actually 2 more, just because they're kind of the same thing. Joe Mixon, over or under 48.5 rushing yards.
Over.
Okay.
Absolutely over.
Chase Brown, over under 26.5.
Oh God, over. They're gonna really try to get Chase Brown to pop off this game. I can sense it. He might get that in one play, my dude.
He might. He's got the speed.
He does.
So it's funny with him. The 2 weeks before, they really leaned on the run game. Joe Mixon had at least 20 carries against the Colts and at least 20 carries against whoever it was they played before the Colts. Cannot remember it all. Last week he only had 10. But Chase Browning had 7. That's the closest they've been. Almost 50-50. And I think I don't know if it's going to be 50-50, like really 50-50. I kind of expect Mixon to outcarry Chase, but I think Chase is going to get a lot more work. Chase Brown is going to get a lot more work moving forward, in my opinion. Which I'm totally, really, really excited about. Very excited about his lightning to Mixon's thunder kind of thing. Because that's how they run. You know what I mean? No, it's exciting. So took the over on everything except for points, I think, right?
And yards. I don't think Browning's going to throw.
I don't think he's going to need
whatever it was yards.
Yeah.
No, I don't either. I think we're going to get up early. I think we're going to run the ball.
I agree. Got a score prediction?
10 Steelers to 20.
Okay. I was going to say 20.
Nice even.
Yeah. 20. I was going to say 23-13. So basically the same thing. Just throw a field goal on both sides. Yeah. So Saturday, the Bengals play, and then Sunday, Christmas Eve, Monday. You know that there's games on. I don't remember why they play Saturday games at late in the season. I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, I'm happy.
I think it's just a question. They think people, and they're probably right. I know I am. They think people are more interested in football as playoff implications start to develop.
Well, yeah, for sure.
So people are just going to want to watch more games. Yeah. I think that's true. This is the last thing I have to say. It has nothing to do with the Bengals. How excited are you for Ravens 49ers? I think that's a Super Bowl preview.
It's going to be. I'm pumped to see that one. I kind of agree. Watching the Ravens over the last couple of weeks. As much as I don't want to like the Ravens, and I don't,
I hate the Ravens, but they're
I don't want to respect. Lamar Jackson looks really good. That team looks really, really good in all aspects of the game. It would not surprise. And I just don't think the Chiefs are the same team they were last year. They got a better defense. The offense is not as good. And I think that they've gone like 3 weeks without scoring in the second half, which is weird for them.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. So, yeah. But, yeah, I do agree.
I just want to say I was excited about it, but that's my playoff. That's my Super Bowl prediction. Niners take it, but also this game will be a lot of fun because of that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Absolutely. A lot of fun to watch. All right. Again, we're on the Orange and Black Insider on YouTube. Anywhere you can get podcasts will be on there. It's not just us. There's great Bengals content every single day from a lot of guys that work really hard to get it out there. We're brought to you by CincyJungle.com, sponsored by, which is SB Nation's Cincinnati Bengals website, and sponsored by Eastgate Smiles Dental Care. Kevin, thank you very much. I hope you and Danielle and Harper have a wonderful Christmas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hooday and Merry Christmas.
Hooday, Merry Christmas. We'll see you guys next week. Maybe. There we go.
great.